Hey everybody, welcome to our podcast. My name is Martin Uchendu, the refugee capacity builder at Samaritas Refugee Youth Services, and today I'm so happy to be able to sit down with my friend Breanna Nelson and have a conversation with her about our work in the Jackson neighborhood community. So I'm super excited for this conversation. We are in for a treat. Without further delay, Breanna, hello, how are you, Breanna?
Hi, Martin. Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm very, very well. Brianna, I'm so excited for this conversation because, we at Samaritas are, we're a pretty large organization.
Yeah.
We have tentacles all throughout the state of Michigan, but specifically in the Jackson, community. And so, um, before we really dive into kind of like what our presence there looks like, I want to just start off by introducing you. Maybe tell a little bit about yourself, how long you've been working within our organization, and what your capacity is within Samaritas.
Yeah. So I've been with Samaritas for a little over 7 years. I started off as a foster care supervisor in the Ann Arbor area, and I've worked my way up the ranks, and my current position is a program director.
Nice, nice, awesome. So foster care, she said foster care supervisor, right, in Ann
Yeah,
Arbor, and you live in Ann Arbor now, if I'm correct, right?
that's correct.
Yeah, go blue, Michigan. I'm a big Michigan
I
fan.
can't say that.
You
I
can't say
am a
that,
full blood Spartan, though
but your husband is a
my
Michigan
husband is
fan.
a. That is correct. We are a
That's
divided
cool.
household.
Divided household, but you guys still stand, nonetheless. Okay, sweet.
Absolutely.
So now you're what was your current role exactly again?
A program director. So I working with um, our refugee youth um, in foster care placements.
Sweet, sweet. And do you oversee the Jackson area specifically?
Yes, well, I have two different programs, but the program that we're talking about today is for our youth that are in Jackson.
Sure. And I think that's a great segue to speaking about that, our role in the Jackson area. As much as you're able to share, what does Samaritas's influence look like within Jackson, Michigan?
Well, Samaritas as a whole provides services to dozens of children and families annually in and around Jackson. My program is geared towards older teen males whose permanency goal is independent living because for one reason or another, reunification with their parents or placing with another family member is not a viable option for them. So Samaritas works with these youth to help them develop the skills necessary to be able to successfully transition into a more independent living arrangement.
Sure. Now you mentioned a couple different things, right? You started off by talking about foster care, and then you talked about independent living. What does that transition look like for someone, for a youth that we serve? That I guess maybe at what age do they transition from from being a foster care to independent living?
Yeah, so around that time of turning 18, so
18.
we know that while some youth, can be fully prepared to go off and on their own when they're 18, vast majority still need some, additional guidance and assistance and support um,
Sure,
beyond 18.
sure. Yeah. So specifically in terms of independent living, what does independent, like, for our audience that's listening and might not know what independent living is for these youth? What does that look like specifically for, like, I don't know, are they like living on their own? Are they driving? Are they going to school? What does that look like when we talk about independent living?
Well, it can look differently. Some youth uh, at 18 are, have completed high school and are just, in the community working. Some youth are still in high school when they turn 18. So, have that need to continue their education. Some youth are moving on to higher education at that time. So some youth are living in dorms, at college campuses. We have a independent living plus program where it's kind of like a group setting for youth who don't need the round the clock supervision, um,
Sure.
but aren't fully ready
Yeah.
to be out on their own. Um, and for a lot of youth, it's living in a host home, renting a room because they need a more affordable housing option than just being able to rent an apartment on their own.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And then I guess that kind of brings up the question of like the need that these youth have when when they turn. You mentioned when they turn 18, they shift from foster care to independent living, right? So what would you say, I think right now, is the most pressing need that we in Samaritas within our program and the youth that we serve have at this time?
Yeah, definitely. For particularly for the youth that we serve in Jackson, is that need for those housing opportunities. Um, one of the in Jackson, because uh, one of the main reasons, um, probably the top reason that youth want to remain in Jackson is so that they can complete their high school education at Jackson High School. All of the youth in our Jackson program come to us as older teens, and many of them have had gaps in their education. Jackson High School recognized that there is this need for a more specialized education plan to give older teens the opportunity to graduate within 2 years. And this is an awesome and unique opportunity for our youth, as other schools would typically place them, those kids with those educational gaps, just place them in ninth grade. Um, no matter what their age is, and so they wouldn't have a chance of graduating high school before they turn 20. So this gives our youth an opportunity to graduate um, within 2 years, um,
Yeah.
and our youth are really taking advantage of that. And though they may be turning 18 before they graduate, um, they need that housing for when they turn 18, so they can stay in Jackson, continue their high school education, and graduate.
Okay. Okay, so basically, so that our audience can understand clearly, it's these youth are in school, even obviously prior to turning 18, they're in high school. They're,
Yes.
they're doing their education, and when they turn 18, they transition from foster care, if say they're with a foster care parent at the time, they transition to independent living. And so basically it what they want is to be able to remain in Jackson, that Jackson community, so that they can finish their high school and then maybe go to college within that same area. And so I think so basically therein lies the importance of making sure that we can get like homes within the Jackson community. Is that correct?
Yes, Martin, that's absolutely correct.
Okay, sweet. So on the topic, I think that brings up the topic of the housing options. Uh, what types of housing options are needed specifically for these youth?
Yeah, so the best option for these youth who are turning 18 and are not quite ready to just fully be on their own would be the Samaritas Rent a Room program. And that program, as you know, Martin,
Yeah.
um, hosts homes, rent a room to youth who are no longer in need of that, supervision that's provided in the foster care placement, but are not quite ready to entirely be on their own.
Sure.
So, unlike families who foster youth, the host families are not legally responsible for the youth in their home, but provide guidance and help continue developing those independent living skills, such as budgeting and how to maintain a household while they're renting a room in their home.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So essentially, it's like if if I'm a landlord and I have a house and I want to, rent out a room, and say even that maybe I live in the house and I have a couple of rooms that's available, I can contact Samaritas if I want to help out in this manner, and essentially Samaritas will be able to have a one of these youth that's 18 or older into that room, and essentially pay rent for that youth. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And
Yes.
before a youth would be entering into that agreement, that rent amount would be something that's negotiated,
Yeah.
as well as any expectations, both for the supportive adult and for the youth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think that's just such a wealth of information just right there, Brianna, and really just thank you so much for all of that. And I think maybe we might have already answered some of this already, but uh, you know, is there anything else that you might have not mentioned in ways by which our audience that's listening might be able to help out with any programs that we do here at Samaritas, whether it be in Jackson or more broadly? Anything else that you might want to add that you might not have mentioned already?
Yeah, for those listening, if you are someone who has a desire or interest of being a supportive adult in a young man's life that happens to have a spare room in your house or apartment, please consider participating in the rent a room program. Or if you're listening, you know of someone else who may be interested, please share this information with them. Give them Martin's information so they can reach out. All of our youth that we serve are really great kids, really great guys who just need a little guidance from supportive adults such as yourselves.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better, Brianna. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, Brianna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin.
Take care.